Okay, what if I told you that everything you think you know about chasing success is, well, wrong? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible philosophy of Jim Rohn. He had this game-changing idea that success isn't something you run after, it's something you attract. So, let's get into it. How do you become a magnet for the life you really want?
Think about it. Most of us are taught to chase success, right? It feels like this finish line we just have to sprint towards. We're always pursuing that next promotion, hunting for the next big deal, just running after our goals. But here's the thing. Jim Rohn's philosophy completely flips that on its head. He believed that this constant chase is exactly why so many of us feel like we're just spinning our wheels, running hard but getting nowhere fast.
So what if we just stopped? What if we stopped chasing and started attracting? See, Ron's big idea is pretty simple, but it's profound. He said success is just a natural consequence of the person you become. It's all about developing the qualities, the habits, the mindset that literally pull opportunity towards you. You're not running yourself ragged chasing it anymore. So the real question is, how in the world do you become that magnet?
Well, it all starts on the inside. Before you can attract anything on the outside, you've got to build a really solid foundation within yourself. And that brings us to the very first pillar, mastering your inner world.
Okay, this is the big one. It's pretty much the cornerstone of his entire philosophy. Rohn taught that the minute you stop blaming everything else, your boss, the economy, your circumstances, and you take full 100% ownership, that's when you reclaim your power. You finally stop being a passenger in your own life and you get back in the driver's seat.
And Rohn had this great metaphor for this. He said, think of your mind like a garden. Now, you can't stop weeds, those negative thoughts, from popping up. That's just going to happen. But what you can do is choose which plants you water. The whole key is to actively cultivate the good stuff, the seeds of positivity, of confidence, of belief, and just let those weeds of doubt and fear wither away because you're not giving them any attention.
This quote right here really gets to the heart of it all. It's not what happens to you that determines your future. It's how you respond to what happens to you. I mean, think about it. Everyone faces challenges, right? That's just a given. The thing that separates people isn't what happens to them, but how they choose to respond. The power isn't in the event itself. It's in your reaction.
Oh, and Rohn loved to tell this story. So, you've got two shoe salesmen, right? They both get sent to a remote country. The first one calls back, totally dejected. Situation is hopeless. Nobody here even wears shoes. But then the second salesman calls back, and he is ecstatic. He's yelling, "This is an incredible opportunity. Everyone needs shoes." See? It's the exact same situation, but a completely different mindset. That right there is the power of perspective.
All right, so you've got the mindset down. That's awesome. But how do you actually turn that into real, tangible results? Well, that brings us to Pillar 2, creating the blueprint for accomplishment. This is where we start connecting that inner world to actual external achievement.
And this process is so important. First off, the goal has to be yours. I mean, really yours, not what society or your family wants for you. Then, you've got to write it down. This makes it real, it makes it tangible, and it sends this powerful signal to your subconscious. And finally, you absolutely have to act on it. A dream is just written down is a goal, sure. But a goal that's broken down into daily actions, that's what becomes reality. Now, this is one of Rohn's most powerful ideas, I think. He totally reframed the idea of discipline. It's not punishment. He saw it as the bridge between your goals and actually achieving them. Think about it. Every single discipline act is like laying another plank on that bridge, getting you over that huge gap of procrastination and self-doubt.
It can feel so overwhelming to think about building this massive, amazing future. But Rohn had a way of simplifying it. He'd say, look, you're not building a fortress all at once. You're just laying one brick. That's it. Just one, today.
And this is where the magic really happens. It's the magic of consistency. That one small, disciplined action. Maybe it's reading 10 pages, or making one sales call, or writing just one paragraph. It doesn't seem like much, but it compounds over time. Day after day, brick after brick, you end up building something absolutely magnificent. And it all started with just one single, simple choice.
So let's talk about persistence for a second. Take Colonel Sanders. Here's a guy, 65 years old, living off Social Security. And he's got this one goal. He wants to sell his chicken recipe to restaurants. Simple enough, right? Well, he was met with an absolute tidal wave of people telling him no.
So how many no's did he get? He was rejected 1,009 times.
Let that sink in. 1,009 times before he got his very first yes. Most of us would give up after 10 rejections, right? Maybe 100 if we're feeling really tough. But 1,009? That kind of persistence is almost superhuman. And you have to wonder, what kind of fuel does it take to keep going like that? Okay, so you've got the mindset, you've got the action plan, but what keeps the whole thing going? What's the engine? That's our final pillar, fueling your continuous growth. This is how you sustain that kind of persistence for the long haul.
Jim Rohn was a huge believer in lifelong learning. He had this great saying, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. He argued that, yes, school gets you a job, but it's the self-education, the stuff you choose to learn after you leave the classroom, that truly builds your fortune. That's where the real growth and the real rewards are.
And Rohn offered this incredibly simple way to predict your own future. Seriously, he said if you want to know where you'll be in 5 years, you just have to look at 2 things: the books you're reading and the people you're spending your time with. That's it. He believed those 2 inputs, more than anything else, will shape who you become.
And this is probably his most famous quote of all time. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Wow. I mean, that is a powerful call to action, isn't it? It forces you to consciously look at your inner circle. Are the people around you lifting you up? Are they challenging you to be better? Or are they kind of holding you back? Because their attitudes, their standards, their conversations, all of it becomes part of your average.
So when you bring this all together, it's pretty clear that Jim Rohn's philosophy is not a shortcut, not at all. It's a lifelong commitment to your own personal evolution. The goal isn't to finally arrive at success, it's to constantly be on this journey of becoming the kind of person who just naturally attracts it.
All right, so let's do a quick recap of these core practices. First, it all starts with taking 100% full responsibility. Then, you set goals that are truly yours, and you build that bridge of discipline to get there. And the whole thing is powered by a positive mindset that you actively cultivate, the right inputs from books and people, and of course, just relentless persistence.
And this right here is the main idea. If you take one thing away from this explainer, let it be this. Stop chasing success. It's like chasing a butterfly. Instead, focus on building a beautiful garden. And you know what? The butterflies will come to you. Focus on your growth, on your character, your skills, your habits. So when it comes down to it, the ultimate question isn't, what will I get? The real question is, who will I become? Because the person you become is what directly determines everything you attract into your life. And that choice, it starts right now, with your very next action. So, who will you choose to become today?